this final form of prayer called contemplation, it's really the heights of prayer, and it's not something that's very common. It's not something that happens over and over and over again in someone's spiritual life, except for those of us who are the Catherine Sienas of the world. Um, for some people, this comes maybe once or twice in their lifetime. Some never reach this. But we've talked about vocal prayer, right? Vocal prayer is when I speak to God using my mouth. I speak to God using my words. We've spoken about meditation, which is when I kind of ponder the things of God and dialogue with God about the things of God. That I use my mind, I pray with my mind. But then we get to this third type of prayer, this prayer of contemplation. And this is where my effort, my hard work, my labor of prayer ceases. This is where God takes over. And there's really no good way to explain it other than to just say, in vocal prayer, I speak. In mental prayer, I ponder. In contemplative prayer, God reveals to the eyes of my heart his face. God gives himself to me in contemplative prayer. Contemplative prayer is perhaps in some ways a glimpse into what heaven will be. When we're perfectly united with him and we experience tremendous peace, tremendous joy, where God looks at us and he just takes us and he pulls us into himself. And I don't really want to say much more about contemplative prayer, because it's different for each person. It's how God captivates us, shows us himself, and unites us to himself. Contemplative prayer is not something that, okay, like vocal prayer. I know that I'm doing it because I'm saying these words. It's not like mental prayer where I say, I know I'm doing it because I'm thinking about what this gospel scene would have looked like, or I'm thinking about why this word is standing out to me in scripture, or I'm pondering the mysteries of the rosary. Contemplative prayer, I might even be sure that I'm aware of it, because it truly is when I stop and when God begins. That form of contemplative prayer is when I stop praying and God assumes me into himself. I spent much more time in discussing meditation because it's meditation that kind of sets the scene. It's meditation that gives me the ability to open myself to God, that he may call me into his contemplative prayer for me. But all I can do for contemplative prayer is take the posture of it, of open myself to what God has in store for me. Now remember, prayer is this kind of three-stage thing. No stage is independent of the others. Right? I must learn to crawl. I must learn to do my vocal prayer before I can walk, before I can do my meditation. And I must learn to walk before I could ever even understand the posture that I need to begin to enter into a full sprint. But even the full sprint, it's not me moving my legs, but it's God lifting me and drawing me to himself.